My name's Eric. I'm 36, living in Denver, working as a software engineer. Not flashy, not loud, just steady. That's who I am. I pay bills on time, cook dinner most nights, and show up when I say I will. I thought those things mattered. I thought being consistent was what women wanted. My wife, Jenna, used to say it was. When we first met, that was her favorite thing about me. She'd tell her friends, Eric is the kind of guy you can trust with anything. He's solid. She loved that I wasn't reckless, that I didn't play games. We used to spend whole weekends together doing the simplest things: grocery shopping, building IKEA furniture, watching old movies with takeout on the couch. But somewhere along the way, that steadiness turned into something she resented. I didn't notice it at first. I thought the little sighs, the rolled eyes, the sarcastic jokes were just stress. But they piled up, like a slow leak filling a basement, until one day you're knee-deep in water wondering how you didn't hear it coming. It was small stuff at first. You always order the same food. You wear the same shirts every week. You never surprise me. She'd say it with a laugh, but her laugh had an edge to it. Then the comments grew sharper. At dinner with friends one night, someone asked how we keep our marriage steady, and Jenna smirked. Oh, Eric? He's predictable. Too predictable. But I guess boring is safe, right? Everyone laughed. I laughed too, but inside, it stung. Because boring wasn't what I thought I was giving her. I thought I was giving her stability, loyalty, safety. The breaking point, though, came one Tuesday night in our living room. We'd both had long days. I brought home Thai food, her favorite, and suggested we watch that new mystery series she'd been talking about. I thought it was a small gesture, but enough. She didn't even look up from her phone. She muttered, "You're so boring, Eric. You do the same thing every day. Same food, same shows, same everything. It's like living with an old man." I chuckled, trying to brush it off. Better than chaos, right? That's when she set her phone down, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "No, Eric. It's not better. You're too boring to love." She said it flat, like she'd rehearsed it. Like she wanted the words to land and stick. And they did. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I just sat there, nodding slowly, like I'd just been given a diagnosis I already suspected. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, her words looping in my head, too boring to love. And slowly, something inside me shifted. Not rage, not panic, just clarity. If Jenna truly saw me as boring, then maybe it was time she found out what life without boring looks like. But here's the thing, I wasn't about to tell her that. I wasn't about to give her a fight or a warning. No, I was going to let her believe I'd keep being the same quiet, predictable Eric she thought she could laugh at, while I quietly began preparing my exit. The next morning, I didn't pack a bag. Not yet. That would have been too obvious. Instead, I packed something else: patience. See, when someone looks you in the eye and says you're too boring to love, you don't respond with fireworks. You don't give them the drama they expect. You give them silence. And silence, when it's steady, eats louder than shouting ever could. That day, I broke my routine. Normally, I'd make us both coffee before work, drop hers by her side of the bed. That morning, I brewed just one. Mine. I left quietly. She texted me around noon. "No coffee today?" I stared at the message, then slid my phone back into my pocket. Didn't respond. When I got home that evening, she was on the couch scrolling her phone, like always. Normally, I'd ask about her day, offer to cook, try to lighten the mood. That night, I just nodded, headed to the kitchen, and made myself an omelet. One plate, one fork, no extras. I sat at the table and ate in silence. She glanced up once, confused, then back at her screen. Day by day, I pulled back. Not in anger, not with attitude, just absence. When she asked if I wanted to go grocery shopping together, I said, "Already went." When she hinted about me fixing the squeaky door, I said, "YouTube has tutorials." When she brought up planning a weekend trip, I said, "Go ahead. I've got things to do here." Each answer was calm. No heat, no sarcasm. Just distance. At first, she brushed it off. She thought I was sulking, that I'd eventually bounce back like always. But by the end of week 2, I saw something in her eyes I hadn't seen in years: uncertainty. One night, she stood in the kitchen while I was washing my single dish. Eric, are you mad at me? I turned off the faucet, dried my hands, and looked at her. No, Jenna, I'm not mad. Then what is this? What's what? This. Coldness. You don't talk to me. You don't. You don't try anymore. I tilted my head slightly. Roommates don't usually try this hard for each other, do they? Her lips parted like she wanted to argue, but nothing came out. She just stood there, blinking, like the ground under her feet had shifted and she couldn't quite find balance. That's when I knew the silence was working. Because for the first time in years, Jenna wasn't in control of the rhythm between us. She couldn't pull a sarcastic jab and expect me to smooth it over. She couldn't throw coldness and expect me to fight for warmth. I wasn't fighting at all anymore. I was waiting, and waiting, I knew, would make her show her hand. Because if she truly thought I was too boring to love, then sooner or later, she'd reveal what or who she thought was exciting enough. And when that moment came, I'd be ready. By week 3, the shift in the air was impossible to ignore. Jenna started trying. Not in little ways, big, obvious ways. The same woman who once rolled her eyes at the word boring was suddenly lighting candles at dinner, slipping on dresses she hadn't worn in years, asking if I wanted to reconnect. To anyone else, it might have looked like a spark reigniting. But I knew better, because love doesn't just vanish one month and return the next. What she was giving me now wasn't love, it was panic. One Friday night, I came home to find the table set with takeout sushi, her favorite. A bottle of wine open. She was dressed up, hair curled, lips painted red. She leaned against the counter, smiling too wide. I thought we could have a little date night, like old times. I sat down, opened the sushi box, and took a bite. Calm. Looks nice, I said. Her smile faltered. She poured herself a glass of wine and sat across from me. You've been distant. I don't like it. I set my chopsticks down, looked her in the eyes. You said I was too boring to love. I just assumed you didn't care if I was distant. Her face went pale. She tried to laugh it off. Eric, I didn't mean it like that. I was just frustrated. Maybe, but you said it. She reached for my hand across the table, but I didn't move mine. For the first time, I saw something raw in her expression, not annoyance, not sarcasm, fear. And that's when I realized something. My silence wasn't just unsettling her. It was threatening whatever secret she'd been guarding. Because when someone is hiding something, the one thing they can't handle is you no longer playing your role. And I had stopped playing mine. The cracks widened a few nights later. I was in my office, pretending to finish some work, when I heard her in the bedroom talking on the phone. She didn't whisper. Maybe she thought I was in the shower. Her voice was sharp, frantic. No, you don't get it. He's not acting the same. He's pulling away. If he finds out, this whole thing blows up. Just give me more time, okay? I sat there frozen, the words looping in my head. If he finds out. I didn't need the rest. I knew then that Jenna wasn't panicking because she loved me. She was panicking because my silence was closing in on a truth she didn't want me to see. And if she was calling someone else to reassure them, then I wasn't the boring one. I was the obstacle. The question was, obstacle to what? I didn't ask her. I didn't storm into the room. I just waited. Because I knew the truth always slips out, especially when someone's juggling two lives. And when it slipped, I'd be ready to walk away. Not with anger. Not with drama. Just with the same steady calm she once called boring. The kind of calm that says, you lose me once, you don't get me back. It only took another week. Jenna said she was going out with coworkers. Some happy hour celebration. Normally, I'd nod, tell her to have fun, and sit at home waiting for the sound of her keys in the lock. But this time, I waited 5 minutes after she left, grabbed my keys, and followed. I didn't tail her like in some movie. I just drove to the part of town I knew her office never used for after-hours drinks. And sure enough, I found her car not outside a bar, but in front of a little boutique hotel. I parked across the street, headlights off, and waited. 10 minutes later, she came out. Not alone. A man stepped out beside her, laughing at something she said. He reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. In fact, she leaned into him like it was the most natural thing in the world. And then he kissed her. Not a quick peck. Not hesitation. A full, practiced kiss. I didn't get out of the car. Didn't take pictures. Didn't storm over. I just sat there in silence, letting the last bit of denial die inside me. The woman who once called me steady, loyal, dependable, had replaced me with exciting. And suddenly, her words, "You're too boring to love," made sense. She wasn't telling me the truth about me. She was just telling on herself. She didn't want stability. She wanted distraction, chaos, something new to chase. And I wasn't that. I drove home before she did. Packed 2 bags, essentials only. Laptop, clothes, documents. By the time she walked in, I was sitting on the couch, my bags by the door. She froze. "Eric, what's going on?" I looked at her calmly. "You said I was too boring to love. So I'm leaving you to find the excitement you want." Her face went white. "No, wait, Eric, I can explain." I stood, shouldered my bag, and walked toward the door. Before leaving, I turned to her one last time. "You think boring means weak. But boring also means calm. And calm men don't scream, don't beg, don't fight. They just disappear when they've had enough." Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I left without another sound. No yelling, no drama, just silence. The same silence she once mocked as boring, now the silence that ended everything. And I'll tell you this, walking away wasn't dramatic. It wasn't even painful. It was just final. Because sometimes, the most powerful goodbye isn't a shout. It's the quiet click of a door closing for the last time.